particularly going after her wonderful half-sister, Samantha.
And suddenly you just have my mom, who's classy and quiet and there, and then you have the other side of my family that is just...
Listen, let me spill this piping hot tea. For years, Meghan Markle has been working non-stop to polish this flawless public image. Oh, you know the one. The radiant duchess, the glowing modern mother, the woman who supposedly brought love back into the monarchy. Every photo carefully staged, every public appearance with her cradling that baby bump, and every tearful little interview about motherhood. All of it was crafted like some glossy PR fairy tale. But honey, that glittering picture-perfect act blew up live on camera. Samantha Markle, Meghan's estranged half-sister, dropped a bombshell so explosive the entire world gasped. And guess what? People weren't ready for what came out of her mouth. For years, Samantha was brushed off, jealous, bitter, irrelevant, they said. But not this time. No, this time she came back swinging with something that shook Meghan's most protected secret.
Suddenly, it felt like she was everywhere. I don't know your middle name. I don't know your birthday. I hadn't had her fall out with her. We didn't have a closeness to be able to have that. And
with a voice full of icy fury, measured, not messy, Samantha didn't throw little rumors around. No, she went straight for Meghan's most sacred identity, her motherhood. Samantha accused Meghan of faking her pregnancies. Yes, you heard that right. Fake. She said the whole thing was staged, exaggerated, fabricated for the cameras. And as jaws were hitting the floor, Samantha doubled down. She said Meghan had fooled not only the royal family, but the entire world. Do you see where this is going? This wasn't petty sister drama. This was a grenade thrown straight at Meghan's reputation.
Of those vicious attacks, Samantha Markle joins me now to give her side of the story. And look, Samantha, we had Tom Bower on earlier, who is obviously...
Samantha didn't mince her words. She called Meghan's pregnancies a charade, a carefully orchestrated performance with props and PR spin, all designed to manipulate sympathy on a global scale. And for once, Samantha's words didn't sound like bitterness. They carried a cutting certainty. Even Meghan's fiercest critics, who usually roll their eyes at Samantha, were shocked. And then, as if that wasn't messy enough, another woman stormed into the spotlight. Enter DL. Unlike some random Twitter troll or online critic, DL claimed something far more devastating. She said she was the surrogate. Yes, the woman who allegedly carried both Archie and Lilibet. And baby, she didn't come empty-handed. She came with what she swore was proof.
She's trying to make out there that she has no form of relationship with you.
Well, that's been the rhetoric so far, and I think, I was never out there.
DL's statement, it was brutal. I was promised privacy and compensation, she claimed, but instead I was erased. She accused Meghan of strapping on a fake belly while the world believed the fairy tale. That hit harder than any gossip could. Think about it. Meghan was endlessly photographed, glowing, smiling, lovingly cradling her bump. Those iconic shots were sold as pure maternal pride. But DL painted them as pure theater, just an act for the cameras. And suddenly, all those cozy, heartwarming images looked like something else. Performance art.
My brother and I thought, a pretty normal life. But it wasn't until the time of the wedding when the media started to get to us. In other words, we didn't seek out the media.
And DL didn't just talk. Oh no, she brought receipts. She allegedly had hospital bills, medical records, even a signed non-disclosure agreement. That's right, paperwork suggesting she'd been silenced while Meghan strutted around building her fairy tale mom persona. For Meghan's critics, this was the smoking gun they'd been whispering about for years. And with DL's testimony blowing up, the internet did what it always does. It dug up old clips. Remember the infamous footage where Meghan's bump folded awkwardly when she bent over? Those videos went viral again. Suddenly, her obsessive stomach cradling didn't look like motherly pride. It looked like overacting.
This is what it seemed like. Seal off the hatches so nobody can talk. And almost instantly, it seemed as though dirt was being thrown upon us so that if somebody did speak to us...
What once seemed like a glowing duchess celebrating motherhood now looked like a woman selling an illusion. The whole moon bump debate reignited with a vengeance. And this time, it wasn't just conspiracy chatter. It was backed by someone claiming to have lived it from behind the curtain.
That weren't real in the media and always out there. So it's not like we were out there trying to... Yeah, it was very weird.
And what's so horrible about what she's done in this TV show is...
And here's where it all flips, darling. For years, Meghan has cried foul, accusing the media of twisting her words, fabricating lies, treating her unfairly. But now, the accusations are turned right back at her. Instead of being the victim, she's being painted as the one who fabricated her very identity as a mother. And trust me, this storm didn't fade after Samantha and DL's live revelations. Oh no, it got louder, sharper, and more dangerous for Meghan and Harry.
Particularly going after her wonderful half-sister, Samantha.
And suddenly you just have my mom, who's classy and quiet and there, and then you have the other side of my family that is just acting differently. My half-sister, who I hadn't seen for...
What started as one sister's bitter-sounding accusations exploded into a scandal with global reach. Millions had cheered when Archie and Lilibet were born. Millions believed the headlines, the glossy photos, the glowing stories of Meghan as a mother. But now, those same people feel played, deceived on the deepest level. And betrayal like that? It cuts deeper than any cheap tabloid headline ever could. The palace? Silent. Not a word. But silence, my loves, can be louder than denial.
Samantha Markle joins me now to give her side of the story. And look, Samantha, we had Tom Bauer on earlier, who has obviously researched both sides of the story, and he's with you. He thinks Meghan is telling porcupines. But let's respond to what she...
And let's talk about that silence. People started to notice, why didn't the royals ever fully embrace Meghan's pregnancies? No classic hospital steps photo ops. No senior royals proudly by her side. At the time, maybe it just looked like tradition being skipped. But now, that absence feels intentional. Almost like the palace knew there were secrets better left unspoken. And behind palace walls, Meghan was reportedly hardening her tone while Harry unraveled. Insiders whispered that Harry was furious, terrified, raging at staff glued to coverage and pushing his lawyers to shut the story down. For a man who once branded himself the champion of honesty and mental health, he suddenly looked unstable, trapped, scared, and spiraling. And Meghan, she didn't retreat in silence. Oh no, she went on the attack. Lawyers were summoned, cease and desist letters drafted, threats of lawsuits against anyone daring to echo Samantha or DL's claims. But here's the deliciously messy catch. Going legal could be the very thing that backfires the most. Court cases bring evidence, subpoenas, testimonies, medical records. If Meghan pushes too hard, she might drag the exact proof she fears into the spotlight. By threatening the press, Meghan risks making the scandal 10 times bigger. This isn't just another bump in her carefully constructed PR story. This, darling, is existential, and let's not sugarcoat it. If even a sliver of DL's evidence proves real, Meghan's entire brand crumbles to dust. She wouldn't be remembered as the humanitarian Duchess mother. Oh no, she'd go down as the Duchess who fooled the world. And Harry? His legacy wouldn't be Diana's brave son anymore. It'd be the prince who enabled the lie. That's why the fallout is so devastating. Samantha's bombshell and DL's so-called confession left Meghan shaking, Harry panicking, and the public in absolute shock. What once read like a fairy tale of love and motherhood now looks like one of the greatest deceptions in royal history. The public isn't quiet about it either. They want answers. They want the Sussexes to explain, not spin. Because scandals, they come and go, but betrayal? Betrayal on this scale is unforgettable. And here's the golden question echoing everywhere. Should Meghan and Harry finally admit the truth about Archie and Lilibet? Samantha's live on-air exposé shattered that glossy facade. DL's chilling confession, backed with documents and an NDA, cracked it even further. The world isn't buying silence anymore. For years, Meghan stood before cameras cradling her bump, selling herself as the radiant Duchess mother. But if the surrogate story holds even the smallest grain of truth, then those weren't real motherhood moments. They were staged performances. And the audience? Millions of loyal believers? They now have every reason to feel betrayed. So here's where it gets real. What should Meghan and Harry do? Should they finally step into the light, admit what happened, even if it means exposing lies that could end their brand forever? Or should they keep swinging? Denials, lawsuits, silence, hoping the world eventually gets tired and moves on? Tell me in the comments, because your voice matters. Type "come clean" if you believe Meghan and Harry must finally face the truth about Archie and Lilibet. Or type "keep fighting" if you think their only option is to keep denying and threatening anyone who dares repeat these claims. But remember this, scandals fade, honey, but betrayal of millions who believed in a fairy tale, that sticks. And if Meghan and Harry don't move fast, this could be the scandal that defines them forever. And here's the part Meghan and Harry fear more than anything else. This isn't just about public opinion anymore. This drama could morph into something much darker, a constitutional question. Yes, you heard that right. Because if Samantha's accusations and DL's so-called evidence keep gaining steam, the palace won't be able to sit back in silence forever. So let's lay it bare. Meghan built her image on glowing motherhood, but Samantha and DL's accusations have ripped that mask right off. Now the world is watching, waiting, demanding answers. And here's the deliciously ironic part. Meghan and Harry once preached about living their truth. But now, the only truth that matters is the one they're too afraid to tell. They're